Hey, what's up guys, and welcome in this new tutorial where I'm gonna show you how to process tech house synths. So before starting with this tutorial, I would like to remind you that all of the samples and presets from this tutorial are from our new pack Mirage Volume 4, which is a collection of one-shots, loops, construction kits and much more that you can check out from the link in the description below. So first of all, let's have a listen to the loop. So really basic, we just have a kick, a bass line, some drums and then the synth. As for the synth, as you can see, we have these serum presets from Mirage 4, and the only thing that we did here was to remove the reverb since we're gonna add it later on in the processing, and then we just have an LFO tool for a bit of sidechain. So we're gonna build two different processing chains, one with Ableton only plugins and another one with only third-party plugins. So let's start with the Ableton one, and we're gonna start with some EQ. So here cutting the lows. We are boosting the mid tops and removing the very top. Something like this. Okay, then let's add a bit of saturation. We are using saturation in parallel mode, so we are reducing the dry and wet, and we are mixing the wet saturated signal together with the dry signal of the track. In this way we have more control, and in general it sounds much better. One thing that we can do is duplicate the saturator and apply some other kind of saturation. Still in parallel mode. So we have just a tiny bit of this hard curve saturation and then some analog clip saturation. The next thing is to add back an EQ to remove any bad frequencies that are added from the saturation. Reducing a bit of these low mids. Giving space to the tops. Still closing the very top. Okay, that's the EQ. Now we are gonna add the OTT, and what it is, it's basically a preset here in the multiband dynamics plugin on Ableton, and basically this is just a multiband compression which is doing both upward and downward compression. This is how it sounds. We're gonna edit the amount. Let's reduce a bit of the output here on the saturator because we are distorting a bit. Obviously you can edit the parameters of downward and upward compression to fit your track. In this case we're gonna reduce a bit of the lows. We're gonna change the range, so around 150 Hz. Like this. We're going to increase the downward compression and decrease the upward compression, so this should overall reduce the level of this band, and then we're boosting some of the tops and the mids. Like this. And then let's go for an imager. So this is not an Ableton plugin, but it's 100% free, so we can use this in this chain as well. We can probably make the sound a bit wider. Here what you have to do is to be aware to not go below 0, because otherwise you will go out of phase, but everything between 0 and +1 is good. like this. And then the final part is gonna be the reverb and the delay. So we're gonna load the Ableton Reverb. We're gonna click Command G or Control G. So we're creating an audio effect track, and we have the chain with the reverb. We're gonna create another chain which we're going to call dry, and then here we have the reverb chain. Before the reverb, we're gonna apply some EQ to cut the very lows, so that the reverb will be only applied on the mids and the tops. And then we're gonna edit our reverb. We're gonna put dry and wet to 100% because we're gonna change the level of the reverb with this gain knob in the chain section. And one more thing is gonna be adding a compressor to sidechain the reverb to the synth itself, which is this one. So basically we are doing this so that the reverb won't be playing when the notes are playing, but only afterwards or in the gaps. Basically what we're doing is sidechaining the reverb to the synth. And now we can change the volume here from the chain section. With a bit of the decay maybe. And we're going to use the same method to add some delay. So we're going to create the delay track. We're going to copy the same EQ, and we're going to use, I think, the echo. Let's go for notes. And we are gonna have to add the sidechain as well. So same process as before, we're selecting the input from the synth itself. This, and here you can also add any sort of effect that you like, so you can add some different stuff, for example some phaser, and you can always use gain here on the chain to adjust its volume. So this is really helpful. I really like using the audio effect track also to add some more effects, because it lets you do this kind of processing which really helps with the mixing. So let's have a listen to the before and after. So we're gonna mute all the chain. Yeah, and that's the difference basically. So now what we're gonna do is gonna be duplicate the track. We're gonna remove all of this processing that we have done with the Ableton plugins, and we're gonna process this synth again with third-party plugins only. So we're gonna start with the Pro Q3. Process is gonna be really similar, so cutting the lows, we're gonna loop the section, cutting the very tops, boosting the mid tops. Can also do some surgical EQ here. Then we're gonna move forward with the saturation. In this case we're gonna use the Saturn 2, which is much more helpful than the standard saturator, because here we can do multi-band saturation. We're we're gonna split the spectrum in 3 different areas, and we're gonna start with the very top. Clean tube saturation, adding a bit of drive and some treble. Also increasing a bit of the gain volume here. Then let's move to the mid-band. Still clean tube saturation, adding some drive and some mid gain. Then we're gonna add some more saturation, and we're gonna use the Arturia Distortion Tube Culture. Really nice distortion plugin. So as we did before with the Ableton Saturator, we're gonna use it in a parallel mode. So we are reducing the mix knob and increasing a bit more of the drive. Like this. So let's reduce the output volume a little bit, and once again we're gonna have to add a Pro Q3 to remove any of the added frequencies from the saturation. Also some resonant frequencies. So we are still gonna use an Ableton plugin, which is gonna be the OTT. So however, for this you can find like a free alternative from Xfer Records. So you can download that one if you are not using Ableton, and we're basically gonna use the same presets that we have created before. So something like this. Then we have the stereo imager. So we're gonna use the Ozone one, which is the Ozone Imager 2. As before, we can add some width to the sound. And then the last part is gonna be reverb and delay, and this time we're gonna use the FabFilter Pro R. So as before, we're gonna load the plugin, then click Command G and create the audio effect track. I'm gonna create a new chain, which is gonna be the dry signal, and then we have the reverb signal. So here, as before, let's add an EQ to cut the very lows, and then we're gonna work on the reverb. Here we can use some presets from the Pro R library. As before, we're gonna have to add the sidechain to the reverb, so I'm gonna add the compressor, audio from Serum 9. Okay, let's do like this. And we're gonna create a new chain and add the delay. So let's copy the EQ, and for this one we can use the timeless free. So in the V2 preset folder, let's go for some basic echo preset, and we're gonna copy the compressor for the sidechain, which we're gonna paste here. Okay, and let's do a before and after here as well. So yeah, and basically that's all for this tutorial on how to process tech house synths. So don't forget to check out Mirage Volume 4 from the link in the description below. Let us know what tutorial would you like to see next, and I'll see you soon. Bye!